Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
You know what? From time to time, we're probably going to disagree on boxing-related subjects. It's the nature of the beast, okay? And we don't fall out about it. It's part and parcel of being a boxing fan. You see, everybody has their own opinions on things, and I don't get ratty with people who have an opinion, and you guys don't get ratty when you disagree with me. And that's all cool, and I like that kind of relationship. We can have like a bit of a backwards and forwards, but it's always respectful, okay? The only time that I do get irritable with certain comments when there's a two-facedness with it, or if there's a statement deemed as a fact, but yet it hasn't been looked into when there's things out there where you can find the answer. I mean, I'll give you an example. So the amount of times that I've seen the comment that Anthony Joshua got dropped by Vladimir Klitschko, but Deontay Wilder has never been dropped. Facts. I'll see these kind of comments. When you see that kind of thing irritates me because that's not a fact. And it's a stupid thing to say because it's easily to find out. Wilder has been dropped before. And his 13th fight, Harold Sconiers. Okay, but people don't seem to want to just do that. They just presume and then put it down as a fact. That kind of thing irritates me. But of course, if you guys say to me, I believe that Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury would knock out Anthony Joshua in 2 rounds. Cool, whatever. Dillian Whyte is my main heavyweight, and if people say to me, if he was to fight, I don't know, Big Baby Jarrah Miller would blast through Dillian Whyte in the first round. Listen, that's your opinion. I'm not going to block you for it. The only time that I ever block people is if I feel a personal attack. And it seems to be the done thing lately where I see like a lot of comments saying, you Brits don't produce this, and you Brits are trash, and you Brits... That, again, it's not boxing, is it? It's just not a boxing opinion. It's a stupid opinion. I don't attack Americans, so why would you feel the need to attack me? I'm very respectful with Americans. I'm very respectful with everybody. Anyway, we can go round and round in circles with that one, but most of you guys who've been with me for some time know that I'm pretty easygoing, and you are free to say whatever you want in the comment section. Okay, and I will respond accordingly, or I'll ignore it. It depends on what it is, of course. I can't respond to every single comment. And sometimes, I'll give you an example today. I've seen on one of the previous videos about Vladimir Klitschko versus Dillian Whyte, because people know that I have access to Dillian Whyte as such. Okay, he is just a text message away and things like that, or a phone call away. But I'm not going to ask him everything, okay? And people have said to me, well, why don't you just call up Dillian Whyte and ask, is he fighting Vladimir Klitschko? What's the truth to it? Well, it's a very simple answer, isn't it? Why would I? I'm not going to ask him every single rumour. I like rumours as much as you guys do. That's why I like football, especially around the summertime and the January transfer window. I like the rumours of who Newcastle United are going to be buying, or in most cases, won't be buying, right? So I like that kind of thing. And even if I did message Dillian Whyte and say, is there any kind of truth to this Vladimir Klitschko thing? And he responds back to me and he says, yeah, we're going to announce that next week, it's on. What do you think I'm going to do here on YouTube with that kind of return message? Do you think I'm going to tell you? Of course not. It's not that I don't want to. Every fibre in my body would want to tell you this. Of course it is. But I'm not paparazzi. I won't just do things for views and clicks. There's a confidentiality thing, a respect thing, okay? If he tells me something in confidence, if any fighter out there tells me something in confidence, I will never, ever breach that. And you guys would fully understand that. I know you would. And you guys would be exactly the same. Because it's not my place to announce something before something is officially announced. So people who say, well, you should just call up Dillian Whyte and find out, is it true, is he fighting Vladimir Klitschko? Well, as I said, even if I did, there's nothing I could do about it. And I wouldn't do anything about it, because what I don't want is a crappy message from like a Dillian Whyte saying, I'm never going to speak to you again. You put this story out there. I didn't tell you this to put the story out there. See, I don't want that kind of thing. And I wouldn't do it about anybody. Even if I didn't like a fighter and I heard something that they told me, I wouldn't do it. Another example, I knew about James DeGale versus Chris Eubank Jr. about a month before I actually opened my mouth about it. I knew that these two guys had already verbally agreed to it. And then about a month later, I thought, well, nothing's been announced, so it's quite clearly a rumour, even though the source would actually know. So then I treated it as a rumour, if that makes sense. And it happens many times. I knew Dillian Whyte was fighting Derek Chisora. I knew Dillian Whyte was going to be fighting Robert Helenius. I knew who was going to be fighting Lucas Brown. The one I didn't know about was Josie Parker. I didn't know about that one. That one took me totally left field. I was expecting Luis Ortiz announcement, and then put out Josie Parker. That took me left field. Okay, but when I know something, I can't just release it. Surely, I mean, I know most of you guys will understand that, but there seems to be a few who doesn't. I'm not paparazzi. I'm not a paid journalist. Okay, I don't just go around chatting to fighters to try and get all like these news stories and break them for the confidentiality. I wouldn't do that. That's just not my way. It's just not in my way. But anyway, so as I said, sometimes we're going to agree, sometimes we're going to disagree, and that's cool as long as everybody's respectful with it. And one of the things I think we're going to disagree on would be when it comes down to Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua. I've been a hardcore Anthony Joshua fan, right? Just check my history. For those of you who are new here, you know that I've been defending Anthony Joshua. Listen, if I think Anthony Joshua's wrong at any point, I will say he's wrong. And exactly the same with Dillian Whyte. I'm more of a fanboy with Dillian Whyte, but listen, if I think he's wrong, I'll say he's wrong, and Dillian Whyte knows that. As long as I'm respectful about it and don't go in on him, he's not going to have an issue with me, is he? Nobody is. Joshua wouldn't. Eddie Hearn. I mean, I've gone in on Eddie Hearn how many times? Countless times, but I'm an Eddie Hearn matchroom fanboy. So when it comes down to Joshua versus Dillian Whyte, you know I'm going to feel like I'm kind of stuck in the middle in some ways. Yes, I am leaning towards Dillian Whyte. Of course I am. That doesn't mean I dislike Anthony Joshua and I should throw him under the bus as people hope that I do. No, of course not. It's just that on the night, if these two guys fight, there's a bigger part of me that wants Dillian Whyte to win. Okay, that's just how it is. But anyway, so when it comes to Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua, this offer that has apparently come through, Dillian Whyte spoke to TalkSport. You guys can check out the previous video on that one. And within that video, there's a link to the interview that Dillian Whyte gave to TalkSport, where he said that he received an offer from Team AJ, as in Eddie Hearn, and the offer was ridiculous. It was less than what he made against Derek Chisora. For a Wembley fight, 90,000 plus, potentially 100,000. This is what the rumour was beforehand, that Eddie Hearn said that Joshua's April 13th fight will be 100,000. So why would Dillian Whyte accept an offer to fight Joshua for less money than what he made against Derek Chisora? You have to remember, what is boxing? Boxing is prize fighting. It is about money, whether we like it or whether we don't. It is about money. And Eddie Hearn knows exactly how much Dillian Whyte got paid against Derek Chisora, because it was Eddie Hearn that paid him. So why would he offer Dillian Whyte less money to fight at Wembley against Anthony Joshua in a rematch that many people would love to see, but offer him less than what he got against Derek Chisora? It's a very, very simple answer, isn't it? Because they don't really want the fight. Well, no, sorry. They do want the fight, but they want Big Baby Jarrell Miller. That's how I see it. They want to put in an offer to Dillian Whyte, so Dillian Whyte goes, why the hell would I accept that for? That's ridiculous. I know my value. And listen, he's not going to outprice himself. I know Dillian wouldn't do that. He's not going to run around and say, I want 50-50, I want 40%. He's not that kind of person. He's a fighting man. Whether you like him, whether you don't, you know he's a fighting man and he will step in the ring with anybody. But to say that he's going to outprice himself and he should just accept whatever Eddie Hearn puts in, don't be so stupid. Of course not. That's a crazy thing to say. Yes, okay, you could look at it the other way. Well, just accept whatever, get Joshua. If you beat Joshua, then you become an A-side. Yes, there is that way. But it's heavyweight boxing. What happens if Anthony Joshua chins him? Dillian Whyte's got to start all the way again, hasn't he? It could happen. Of course it could. I'm a realist. But for people to just say that he should just accept it, of course he shouldn't just accept it. At a bare minimum, now, listen, okay, I don't know how much he got paid against Derek Chisora. All I remember was Derek Chisora running around saying how he will be offering Dillian Whyte £5 million pounds. I don't know if that's what he got. I have no idea. Maybe he got more, maybe he got less. No idea whatsoever. Ain't my business. But for Eddie Hearn to put in an offer that is less than what he made against Derek Chisora, that's to say, well, we offered him the fight, but he didn't want to do it. So we moved on, and that's why we're fighting Miller. Because then it makes Anthony Joshua looks bad with the fact that he stood there after the Chisora-Whyte fight and said that you are number 3 on my list. Number 1, Wilder. Number 2, Fury. Number 3, Dillian Whyte. There was no mention of Jarrell Miller or anything. So therefore, he has to go through that process. And by putting in an offer, at least they can say, well, we tried, but Dillian Whyte didn't want it. That's why we're fighting big baby Jarrell Miller. Hey, it's not our fault. We did try. That's a way of looking bad, to be honest with you. And I don't want to make videos like this, okay? I don't want to be putting down Joshua and Eddie Hearn and their lowball offers and all this kind of thing. I don't want to do that. And yes, I've always said, even when it came down to Wilder, okay, we all knew that Wilder got 2.1 million against Luis Ortiz. So when a $12.5 million comes in, which is what, 6 times more money? Of course, I'm there saying, yes, he should accept it. But beforehand, you guys will remember, I was saying Wilder should not undersell himself. He should try and get as much as he can. Every fighter should. But don't go overboard. And that's exactly what Wilder done. So there's a huge difference. Yes, Wilder's champion. Dillian Whyte's not champion. Dillian Whyte isn't bringing a world title to the table. He's bringing his WBC silver title, which will not be on the line. But he is bringing pay-per-view status. Dillian Whyte's a pay-per-view fighter. Dillian Whyte is a bigger name in the boxing world than what Deontay Wilder is. It just is how it is. Listen, I know that the Wilder fans over there in America will disagree with that one. Fine, you can disagree with it. It's one opinion to another. But there is boxing outside of America. There are other countries in the world. If you open up a map, you can see you're not the only country in the world. And you're not necessarily in the centre of it. It just is how it is. Likewise here in the UK. There is a bigger world out there than outside the UK. So no, Dillian Whyte should not accept less money to fight Anthony Joshua than what he made Derek Chisora. Because that's just stupid. That would be ridiculous. But again, I do understand those of you who say, well, if you take it and then think about the benefits of the win, if he was to win. So I do understand that point, but why would he do that? Yes, okay, he could become a unified heavyweight champion, but ultimately, what if he don't? He can go fight whoever. He can have a third fight with Derek Chisora for that kind of money. And Eddie Hearn knows this. And this is a way of saying, well, we tried to make Dillian Whyte. Yes, because Dillian Whyte is the most deserving fighter out of everyone. Nobody deserves an Anthony Joshua fight, or a world title fight at least, than Dillian Whyte. Ideal situation, Wilder versus Dillian Whyte. But we know that ain't going to happen. It just isn't going to happen. And I have heard people saying, but he should have fought Luis Ortiz. For what reason? For what reason would he have fought Luis Ortiz for? A secondary mandatory position to fight Deontay Wilder or the WBC heavyweight champion, whoever it may be, in 18 months' time. Where's the logic in that? And whatever the offer was to Luis Ortiz to come over and fight, I have no idea. People are throwing around figures like 200,000. How do you know? You don't know how much it was. I don't know how much it was. So I can't disagree with it, and I can't agree with it because I just don't know how much it was. But it makes no difference. So anyway, I mean, that's my point. The point is, as far as this whole Whyte and Joshua situation happens, listen, we're going to disagree on this subject, as we would if you throw Tyson Fury in the mix and that as well. We are going to have disagreements. It's just the nature of the beast. But for Eddie Hearn to put in an offer like that, it makes it look bad. And it makes me look bad as well, because I've been defending Joshua for like a long old time when it comes to the Wilder negotiations, and Wilder saying how we're being lowballed, even though clearly he's not. But then you go and put a lowball offer in to Dillian Whyte. That cannot be defended. It makes you look soft. It makes it look like you don't want the fight. If you don't want the fight, don't put in an offer. Just go fight Big Baby Jarrell Miller. Because then it puts a bad taste in people's mouths when you announce that you are going to fight Big Baby Jarrell Miller, because we know that you lowballed Dillian Whyte. You didn't do everything that you can to make that fight. You didn't do everything you can to make the Tyson Fury fight. We've heard nothing about Tyson Fury yet. Didn't you say he was number 2 behind Deontay Wilder as priority? Have you made an offer to Tyson Fury yet? We don't know. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I mean, there's plenty more to say. I don't want to go on too much about it. Listen, you have an opinion, I have an opinion, I respect your opinion, you respect mine. On fight night, we'll probably be on opposite sides of the fence, but the day after, we'll be perfectly fine again. It just is how it is. So don't get your knickers in a twist. You know, because I say that Dillian Whyte is right to not accept a offer for less than what he made against Derek Chisora. And Eddie Hearn should know better, let's be real. He should know better. He knows exactly how much Dillian Whyte got paid. So why would he do that to his own fighter? Why would you lowball your own fighter? Listen, I know that Dillian isn't signed to a long-term contract with Eddie Hearn Matchroom. It's a fight-by-fight basis. But come on now, that's just ridiculous. For me, just don't put in an offer. If you don't want to fight Dillian Whyte and you'd rather fight Big Baby Jarrell Miller, because Eddie Hearn is so desperate to get AJ over to America, and rightfully so, he should fight in America. He's a world champion. He's not a UK champion, he's a world champion. So he should fight over there. But again, you have to ask the question. If you're willing to go to America to fight Miller, then why are you not willing to go to America to fight Wilder? I don't understand that point. That bit is still a bit baffling for me. From a personal point of view, listen, undisputed on British soil. 2 champions come together, winner walks away undisputed. We haven't had that on British soil. We've had an undisputed fight on British soil, Usyk versus Bellew, but we haven't had 2 champions being, or one of them being crowned as undisputed. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Of course, you drop me yours. Click the thumbs up to this video, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Catch you all on the next video.